A guy infamous for being a softie gets his chance at love when he befriends the gorgeous transfer student. Chema, a graduating high school student, attends a party with his friends, Hugo and Ruben. Before he can enjoy it, the tipsy Hugo suddenly starts pestering the girls, leading to them getting kicked out. As they walk outside, they bicker as they finally get invited to a party, only for Hugo to ruin it. Chema defends that the music was lame anyway since it was all reggaeton and Mario B, while he prefers Led Zeppelin and the Stones. They discuss the upcoming Christmas party, and while getting a date isn't a problem for the other two, they're worried about Chema. The following day, Gloria, his mother, announces that Chema will be sleeping on the sofa to let his father's friend, Uncle Jaime, occupy his room. Despite the guy's disapproval, Gloria's mind is made up as she wants to give Jaime a proper accommodation to honor her late husband's last wish. Jaime is her husband's best friend whom he asked to look after his family before he passed away. While the two are discussing this, Begonia, Chema's younger sister, prepares to leave for school. Gloria wants her to wait for Chema, but she refuses, not wanting to get associated with her loser brother. Upon arriving at school, Chema meets with his friends to take a picture, recreating their old photo taken 10 years ago. Their solid friendship has flourished that long, and he's grateful to have their presence throughout. Afterward, the group hangs out on the school grounds, talking about what they'll miss about school. Chema absent-mindedly blurts out that he will miss Ely's smile, which his friends disapprove of because they know her as his cousin. The poor guy tries to convince his friends that she's not his cousin, but they don't believe him. During laboratory class, Chema is still bugged about experiencing the dating life just as he overhears his classmates sharing with her friends that she got asked out for the party. Pressured, Chema decides to make his move on another classmate but gets scared. He tries again, but the next one's makeup makes him nervous. Unfortunately, Chema is also known as a softie or someone who is easily persuaded to do things around the campus. Because of this, his teacher orders him to throw out her cat's litter. Later, another teacher tasks him to tour a transfer student around the campus. The task would have been dreadful, but like an answered prayer, the student is a beautiful lady named Claudia. He is so enthralled by her that he can't find his voice or will his brain to function. Fortunately, they are able to continue with the tour. As Chema's heart gets conquered, he becomes an easy pawn to do the girl's whims. When he finds out Claudia doesn't have a ride to school, he offers to drive her, even if it means begging his mother to let him use her car. Unluckily, the begging doesn't work on his mother. Just then, his Uncle Jaime arrives, so the family welcomes him. Knowing that he's graduating, Jaime asks Chema what career he's pursuing, and he answers that he'll take up engineering like his father, making his mother proud. After giving them presents, the man announces that he has brought his truck. With a hidden agenda, Chema tries to provide him with the best accommodation. Noticing his weird behavior, Jaime asks to have a word with him. The young man finally musters the courage to tell Jaime about Claudia. He needs a car to drive her to school and eliminate other guys who have the potential to steal the lady. Being a supportive uncle, he instantly allows Chema to take his truck. The following day, he gets up early to drive to Claudia's house, which is far away. While on the road, the poor guy keeps bumping into various inconveniences, making him swear he'll never travel that far again. However, when Chema's gaze falls on Claudia's beauty, all his complaints fade away. To impress the lady, Chema opens the door for her and ends up paying for her expensive coffee, even promising to buy it for her every day. In exchange, Claudia repeatedly calls him baby and kisses him on the cheek. Even after learning that Claudia likes Mario B, the artist Chema despises, he turns a blind eye and continues admiring her. Upon arriving at school, the two walk inside, and all eyes are drawn to them. For a moment, Chema becomes the eye of jealousy among the men while Claudia clings to his arms. After walking Claudia to her first class, Chema gives her a class schedule, map, notebook, folder, and the school's curriculum, which he prepared for her perusal. Before they split, the poor guy pleads with Claudia to wait for him and not go with other guys. Charmingly, she promises that she'll only go with him, leaving the other students who heard them in utter shock. Later that day, two popular girls, Hannah and Alexa, inform Chema's class that their post-graduation trip will be held in Cancun. Everyone becomes excited by the announcement, but their teacher interrupts to remind them of the university training course that they'll undergo that week. Hearing this, Ruben asks Chema if he's sure about taking engineering, but his friend hesitates. The day goes by fast, and while Chema is alone in the hallway, Ely approaches him. She gets one of his earbuds and immediately identifies that he's listening to British rock. Chema is surprised that Ely remembers the band he likes and his autographed poster of of them. He enthusiastically shows her a picture of the Smiths poster with Morrissey's autograph, eventually leading them to recall some childhood memories. With the good atmosphere, she invites him to hang out and audition as a pair on Your Hit, a musical competition that Chema has been eyeing. Excitedly, the guy immediately agrees, yet they are disturbed by Claudia, who asks if they can leave. Disappointment is evident on Ely's face when Chema relents in going, but she just watches them walk away. Claudia, who's trying to fit in with the city girls, aspires to try everything she sees on Instagram. This time, she wants to sign up for a yoga and pole dancing class, but she needs a ride to attend them. Blinded by witnessing Claudia in daring activities, Chema immediately volunteers to drive her around. In the following days, Chema follows Claudia around for her errands, getting her food and joining her in yoga to the point of forgetting his commitment to Ely. The foolish guy feels guilty for abandoning his childhood friend, but just as when he plans to go to Ely, he's tempted to stay and watch Claudia do her pole dancing routine. Because of his unrequited pursuit, Chema has been spending more of his savings for the girl and spending less time with his friends to be with Claudia's new circle. He even gets invited to the party that Sebas is hosting. This allows him to make it up to his friends as he gets them invited as well. Before going to the party that night, Jaime advises Chema not to let Claudia hug him because this is a sign that he's only her reliable friend. The young man retorts that he and Claudia are more than friends, but this is later proven false when the beautiful girl leaves him to be with Sebas at the party. While Chema is sulking about Sebas and Claudia's dancing, Hugo and Ruben talk about their dates for the upcoming Christmas party. When they ask Chema about it, he insists on bringing Claudia as his date. Knowing that Claudia is out of his league, Ruben advises him to take a girl he feels more connected with. Still, he remains stubborn that they have a lot in common, though he fails to think of anything they share. Wanting to prove that he and Claudia are possible, he plots to eliminate Sebas as a threat by telling him that Claudia likes girls. This works, and Chema's hopes heighten when he drops Claudia off at her home, and she invites him to spend the night. In the end, however, Claudia passes out, and the young man spends the night on her floor. The next morning, Claudia worries about not going home with Sebas. Chema tries to convince her that she's too good for the other guy, but this earns him a hug and a label as her best friend. Days later, Chema is desperate to leave the friend zone, so he asks his mother's advice. Upon learning about Claudia, Gloria is surprised that he's pursuing someone into yoga and pole dancing as she expects him to be with someone who shares his interests, like Ely. Believing that Ely is his cousin, Chema objects, but Gloria clarifies that they aren't related. She explains how parents sometimes call their friends their children's aunts and uncles, like how they call Jaime. However, they're not related to him or Ely. Still, Chema believes Claudia likes him, so Begonia, who has been listening, points out that he's been treated like a dog or an exclusive human pet who'll never have physical contact with the girl of his dreams. Chema is utterly hurt upon realizing how he was fooled, so he goes for a walk and wanders into a music store, where he finds Ely. Like he has no fault to her, he asks the girl if she already has a date for the Christmas party, only to get Ely's cold response. When he mentions the Your Hit competition, she replies that the audition is over. Chema apologizes for being such a jerk before leaving. Having a soft spot for the guy, Ely calls him, and they reconcile. The next day, Chema tries to confront Claudia about being her dog. However, the confrontation changes course when she asserts that they're going to be each other's date for the party, but it's just because Sebas is ignoring her. Despite being a placeholder, Chema excitedly brags about the news to his friends, but when he learns that Ely is going with another guy, it upsets him. One day, Claudia hangs out with Hannah and Alexa, who implies that Sebas wants to take her to the party. When the two learn that she's taking Chema as her date, they exaggeratedly object, seeing Chema as only her dog, so she can't show up to the party with him. To show her the proper treatment of their human pets, Hannah calls the attention of her dog, Manny, to glam her up. Alexa also tells her that Fur willingly follows her bidding. Because of this, Claudia hastily confronts Sebas to make him her date and clears up Chema's lies about her preferences. After school, Chema can't contact Claudia, who left her bag in his car, so he checks on her at her house. Hearing her parents inside, he climbs up the balcony instead and finds Claudia in the mood while in her bathroom. Taking the hint wrongly, he removes his clothes, only to find Sebas with his dream girl. His heartbreak has to wait as he hears Claudia's mother approaching, so he ends up falling to the ground in panic. Meanwhile, Jaime and Gloria are watching a movie until the man relates to the actor's confession of love. He musters up his courage to also confess his love for Gloria, but he stops when Chema barges inside with such a gloomy state. Jaime immediately follows the guy into his room, and while comforting Chema, he receives a call from Claudia Claudia. She first inquires about the clothes he left, which he denies knowing about. Dropping the issue, she then tells him that she'll be going with Sebas to the party instead. This crushes Chema, but he assures Claudia that he's okay, as he can go with Ely instead. Hearing this, Claudia hints that Ely obviously likes him, so she encourages him to go for it. This surprises Chema, but he disregards it as he's more worried about Claudia's affection. To band-aid his crushed ego, Chema invites Ely to be his date for the Christmas party, and she readily agrees, thinking that his intention is pure. The night of the most awaited Christmas party finally arrives, and Chema gets picked up by his friends in a limousine. On their way, Hugo gives them a red bracelet as a sign of good luck and their friendship. They finally arrive at the venue with their dates, but Chema remains preoccupied with seeing Claudia dancing with Sebas. Despite this, Ely catches his attention by showing him a piece of paper where she and her friend wrote a prediction during junior high school. They predicted that Ely would be going to the dance with Chema. Touched by this, the guy says he's glad that it came true. Throughout the night, Chema focuses on his date, and everyone has a good time. Claudia starts getting jealous when she sees the two dancing, so she interrupts their moment. With the awkward situation, Ely excuses herself to the bathroom, leaving the two to talk alone. Claudia acts sad to see Chema with Ely, so he admits his feelings for the popular girl. However, the idea of being with Chema makes Claudia laugh before she leaves with Sebas again. Overhearing their conversation, Ely realizes that she's only Claudia's substitute. As she storms out, Ruben overhears what happened and gets mad at Chema as well. To make things worse, he even gets into a hurtful argument with Hugo, leading Chema to throw the red bracelet back at him. Distraught, Chema gets wasted the rest of the night, and when he gets home, he even mocks Jaime for liking his mother and says that just like him, he's just his mother's dog. The next day, Chema suffers the consequences of his actions as Gloria confronts him about Jaime going away and leaving their family. Despite Chema's attempts to contact him, the man can't be reached. Ely and his friends also start ignoring him at school despite his attempts to make amends. Still, Chema is persistent in winning back the important people in his life. During Valentine's Day, he enlists his sister's help to surprise Ely. He shows up to the music room with heart balloons, but unluckily, he still gets ignored. Motivated to improve, Chema starts recalibrating his life and works part-time to save money. He becomes busy and focused until one day, he finds his mother crying over Jaime. Also missing his supportive uncle, he writes him an invitation to his graduation. On his graduation day, Chema is walking on the school grounds when he bumps into their teacher, who wants to get his help. Unlike before, he learns to decline politely, telling her he's no longer that softy student. His friends overhear this and feel proud of him. Afterward, Chema delivers his gift for Ely in the music room. It's a music disc and the autographed poster of the Smiths. Upon finding it and reading his letter, Ely immediately looks for him. At the school grounds, Chema sees the popular kids bossing around some students. Pissed, he chastises them for doing so. He recalls his struggles of attempting to get together with the hottest girl in the school so he could fit in. Yet this led to losing his best friends. Chema then validates Manny's and Fur's skills and calls them amazing human beings who can thrive on their own. He stresses that each of them is enough, hence no one deserves to be anyone's pet. Guilty over his behavior, Sebas hugs him and acknowledges that he's right. The rest of the students applaud the former softie, who's now feeling more confident than ever. As they prepare for the graduation, Claudia takes the seat behind him to share that she broke up with Sebas because she wants to be with him now. Although this was his biggest desire, Chema now learns to reject a red flag, and instead, he offers her friendship. Hugo and Ruben then take their seats beside Chema, and finally, the three reconcile. They share their excitement for the next stage of their lives and joke around before the ceremony starts. When it's Chema's time to receive his diploma, Jaime arrives and shouts how proud he is of him. After the ceremony, Ely meets with Chema to return his poster, but the man insists she keep it. Then, Chema walks to his family and bravely tells them that he'll no longer pursue engineering. Instead, he'll study music like he truly wants. Jaime also announces that he will now stay forever with their family, making all of them rejoice. Just as planned, the graduates soon get their reward trip to Cancun. While on the plane, everyone is having fun, and the popular kids have grown close to those they looked down upon before. Ely heads towards the washroom, where Chema is waiting. The new couple immediately makes out, but a flight attendant knocks on the door to remind them about the one person at a time policy. When they refuse to listen, someone decides to break the door, and it's Mario B, Claudia's favorite musician, who fist bumps Chema upon seeing what the couple is up to.